Right, thank you everyone. Welcome to this final planning advisory group meeting of this current council on the 3rd of May. As always, there are no fire drills planned, so if it should, the alarm should go off. There's a fire exit just behind us here, and obviously the usual route that you came in through the stairs. Sharon, that other bit I'm going to do at the end.
Tanya, that's blocked.
Oh, can we just pull that chair forward? Sorry, that was because we're letting some air through.
Yeah.
Apologies for absence. I think we've just got Nicola, who at the moment isn't here, but hopefully will be joining us at some point. So we'll add her in when she arrives. Any declarations of interest? So, Paddy, any declarations of interest? No. Sue?
None that I'm aware of.
Janet?
No.
Roger?
None that I'm aware of.
Bobsy?
None that I'm aware of.
Bob?
No.
And there's nothing from me. So we will quickly just go through the chairman's report and then we'll move on to public participation. So just a couple of things. Some of you will remember we talked about a potential for a dropped curb at Briery Bank. And there were a couple of options and we proposed that we ask the district ward councillors. Nicola has just arrived.
Apologies, Chair.
Nicola Holland and John Cato to support it, and just to update that they've done that. So that's just an update.
Just want to ask Nicola if she's got any declaration.
Do you have any declarations of interest, Nicola? No, thank you.
None that I'm aware of.
The next item on the chairman's report is the town council project manager attended a recent 7 Vision workshop, and she's provided the following verbal report. In short, excuse me, the 7 Vision is about creating a national marine park for the Severn Estuary. Portishead Town Council have been identified as key stakeholder and are now looped in for the future via the project manager email address. They talked about the model that already exists in Sussex, Plymouth and Scotland, but each area will be different due to the geography. This workshop brought together a lot of the key stakeholders to work out who the key stakeholders need to be and what the strategy might look like. A final report has been issued and further details can be obtained from Portishead Town Council's project manager. The next steps are reliant on funding, but those that are relevant to the Town Council are to provide support for parish and town councils to the planning process and look into the development of previous work by the Severn Estuary Partnership and the Maritime Marine Organisation, and to empower local communities to set up their own environmental projects through mapping of projects, that's from the past, current and future projects, and facilitating connections between community groups, council officers and other interested parties. So that's just an update from the project officer. We now move on to public, actually what I'll do first of all, sorry, just jump around. Can we just do the consider and approve the minutes of the last meeting and then we'll move on to public participation. So the rest of the meeting should run more slowly. So has anybody got any comments they want to make on the minutes? Are we all okay to agree them? Okay, if I propose that we approve those. Thank you, Sue. All those in favour? Thank you. And I will do that at the end. Right, so public participation. Obviously, we've got a couple of people here that want to speak about Beach Road West, and then we're going to move on to that item on the agenda. So I don't know who wants to go first. Are you all right, Catherine? Do you want to? You're right, just standing, or maybe, or you can come and sit down next to Nicola if you'd rather, and then we can.
It's fine. Am I right here?
Yeah, of course you are. That's fine.
Hello, good evening again.
Yes, sorry, Catherine Joyce.
Yes, Catherine Joyce. Yes, sorry. So I'm here because the applicants put in modified plans for the development of 33 Beach Road West next door to us. Very little change in general, apart from the absolute balcony that was included on the first lot of plans, which massively overlooked into our garden and our house, has now been replaced rather quickly by a green roof, which there's no detail of any of the construction methods or what exactly the greenness is. Is it sedum, which you'd assume it would be? Slightly worryingly, the access to that green roof, which is exactly the same extent as the balcony was, with a couple of extra roof lights in it, still looks from the plans like it's still accessed by the very large sliding doors, and So, and when you have a green roof, you don't need a balustrade. So, and the temptation, surely, without any internal balustrade inside the house itself, would be, of course, for people to use it as a balcony. It would be extraordinarily dangerous because there would be no balustrade. So, it looks just like the green roof's been added as a concession to the fact that the balcony overlooked, but not completely fulfilled its information really about it. The patio doors are wall to wall, and so they give a very wide view into the neighbour's garden still, and because they are above the fence line, that is drawn in error still a metre lower than it metre higher than it actually is in effect. So that's still an issue from looking out and from a privacy point of view. We, in our comments back to the council on the site, suggested a proposal maybe, or something to have a smaller balcony outside their living area that would be solid side screen so that it didn't block. Because kind of, yeah, it's fine to have a bit of outdoor seating out of the living area, but what they've got at the moment, what they had before was massive, and now what they've got is just a green roof
Massive and dangerous.
And yeah, and so, you know, there could be something that could happen with that. So that's the main change, was the green roof. That was the main change. The fact that the plans are incorrectly drawn has still not been remedied again. So the fence height is still wrong down the side of the house with us. And the 45-degree line that is shown from our window, which we have time and again told you that it was, our house has been moved to be in the wrong position just to make the line from our lounge window look like it should be 45 degrees when actually it's 51.2. And so we're concerned at the moment that if it was to be approved, whether or not that 45 degree and those drawings are enforceable. You know, when they approve something, they condition the plans. It should be drawn as per the plans. Well, if the plans were drawn wrong, then what is the implication on that when it comes to construction? The roof, the 45 degrees, if it was 45 degrees, would be a roof height of 6.05 metres, and it's actually 7.5 metres. Yeah. So there's a metre and a half difference, and what would they do? Would they get so far and then stop building? Would enforcement get involved? We don't know. It's just
they're in breach.
You know, if they were conditioned, if the actual drawings were conditioned, it would be difficult to actually build to the plans because the plans were wrong. Yeah. And so that's still a thing that we feel that we have to still kind of mention. And the fact that the building comes right up to our boundary to the tune of just a space of 0.6 metres, we just mentioned again and tried to be a bit clearer that we really wouldn't want to allow scaffolding on our land to support that, which, because they're building a new building, not maintaining an existing building, they would need our permission as we understand it, and that permission would not be forthcoming. So we just wanted to kind of make sure that they kind of knew that. So that, I think, is pretty much our point.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
Did the case officer's been out to see you, hasn't she?
Yes, she did.
Pardon?
We didn't see her though. We were away.
We were away,
okay.
but my mum was house sitting at the time, so she let her in, and she saw the overlooking from our living room, and then went out into the garden and did something, but obviously we don't know.
Oh, so you've not had a conversation with her about all of the, okay. Do you know what, I don't imagine she gave anything away.
No, I know all that my mum said was that she went, because my mum brought her through the house and then sort of deviated her into the lounge to say, come and look, because the original balcony was horribly overlooking into our living room, and she took pictures from inside our living room looking at the fence, and then went out into the garden. Unfortunately, because we weren't there, and Nick has hammered lots of strange pieces of wood at different levels on our fence so that you know what the ground level is and what the level of this balcony would have been. We weren't there to explain what these random bits of wood actually meant, but we obviously, she didn't tell my mum anything. She just and took photographs.
Right, okay, that's fine.
So, but yes, has actually been.
Okay, that's brilliant. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Catherine.
Jill?
Jill, did you want to say anything? Have you got anything you wanted to add? If you had,
Not really, well.
no,
yes,
I was
suppose
just going to say, you don't have to go, if you've got nothing to add,
I
don't
haven't
worry.
really got anything to add. You know, the comments that we submitted
Yeah.
before haven't changed.
No,
And, you know, like Catherine and Nick, we're just concerned about what this green roof
it's going to
actually is going
be.
to be used for, because, you know, big floor to ceiling sliding doors or whatever they are, it's unclear as to what they are on the plans, but you know, that's
Nothing.
a huge temptation.
Yeah,
isn't it?
definitely.
So,
Did the case officer come to you, or did they just go, she just go to
We-
Catherine's?
Don't think so. I mean,
Okay.
we may have been in the garden, but we didn't see her.
So you're not aware, so you've not spoken to her?
No.
Okay, no, that's fine. Okay,
All right.
thank you both. Janet, go on.
Thank you, Catherine, for letting us know that it's 0.6 metres away from your boundary.
Yes.
Is it actually 0.6 metres away from your house?
No.
No, we're 2.2 metres on our side.
Right.
They're just
So we
coming
we do have a path and a little bit of a bank which is planted up, but the where the, if you can remember this, the scaffolding goes all the way down the side of our
Yes.
house, so it would be coming up just.
Yeah,
Just to the other side of that.
the existing building is 1.6 metres and they're coming our way 1 metre to be 0.6. So there's no room for scaffolding
No.
and they're going on the assumption that they can bully us into letting them have scaffolding on
You're
there.
not bullyable, are you?
Do you think that we?
Jill, can I ask how far is it from your, from your, I know I should have looked it, but how far is it from your boundary?
From our boundary, well, it's on a bit of a diagonal, so I don't know from the, it's
About
at the 20
front.
centimetres, yes, at the
20
front.
centimetres, yeah.
It's might, I mean.
Oh, well,
and-
that's
and
tiny,
this-
isn't it?
Ah,
Yeah, and the garage is right next to our external wall. There won't be room for any maintenance at all to our house. And of course, beneath the garage, there's this proposed 3.7 metre basement, which will literally go right down to the, you know, by the wall of our
At 20
200-year-old cottage that probably
Mm.
has no foundations. You know, I appreciate that's probably not a planning issue, but it's
Mm.
really scary.
No, well, thank you, that's really helpful. What I was going, so if we move on, because this is kind of the next item on our agenda. What I was, oh, sorry, Bob.
Yeah, I was just looking on social media with companies that are advertising green roofs, or the other words that they use, which is garden balconies or roof gardens. I quite agree. We need to get that clarified, what they're sort of implying as a green roof.
Thanks.
A lot of companies are
Advertising it as like a balcony, yeah.
as a balcony.
Yes, Janet.
maybe this isn't the right time to say it, but I think we have a neighbourhood plan that's been accepted, but not as far as North Somerset is concerned. And my concern is that we go back to basics at this point and say this is historical, this is the street scene, and can we say no to this whole thing?
I think probably not, because we've already discussed it once and we've given our objections.
Yeah.
What my proposal is going to be, and I'm happy to discuss it, and I don't think actually there's anything in the neighbourhood plan specifying that anyway. We are going to talk about the neighbourhood plan this evening because we've got a few applications that have come through that we need to refer back to it. Yeah. What my proposal was going to be is that we go back to North Somerset. I'm not sure whether you guys know, this hasn't come to us from North Somerset because it's an amended plan. So it's, you know, thanks to you emailing that we kind of became aware of it. So we're going to go back and say that my proposal is, depending on how people think, is we go back to North Somerset and say that we are now aware of these amended plans. Our original objections still stand, and I will read through that list in a minute if we agree that that's what we'll do, and I can read it through beforehand. But I might also, Sharon, if we can, just add a few bits that have been mentioned today. So if I just read out the original objection that we had, and if anybody wants to kind of comment. So we originally said that we objected due to it being overbearing, overlooking the immediate and surrounding neighbours, the mass and scope of development is not in keeping with the street scene, so we said that. The excavation could impact neighbouring properties, the loss of privacy, the inaccurate and misleading plans, giving the impression the building is smaller and less imposing than it actually is. The size of the rear extension on the ground floor is out of keeping with neighbouring properties. The garage adjacent to the side wall to the cottage next door limits access for maintenance, which you've just mentioned, haven't you? This is a larger development than the plan that has previously been disallowed. We urged the authority to visit the site, which obviously they have now done. And we've asked the ward councillor to call the application in, and we've checked, and that has been done. Obviously, we're about to hit an election tomorrow. So we will need to make sure that if that ward councillor changes, that the new ward councillor is given that information as well. But Sharon has actually checked with the case officer, and she's confirmed that they've had that confirmation. So it will be called in. What I would like to do is propose that we say that our objections still stand, to add that the replacement for the balcony, I mean, these are my words, but appears to be a balcony by any other name, but actually is more dangerous than the existing plans. I noticed that although we said the inaccurate and misleading plans, we didn't mention the 45-degree angle actually. So I think that's a really important one. So I think we need to go back to the inaccurate and misleading plans and say including the area where it mentions that it complies with the 45-degree angle.
And can we say that clearly is untrue?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
I think
inaccurate
we
and
need to
misleading. Yeah.
We need to spell it out, that it's a
Okay.
lie.
Tanya, did you want to say that which side is the 45 angle, or do you want to say both?
They've only mentioned it on your one, haven't they? It
I think
only
they put it a
appears.
couple of times on it.
Yeah.
It's just that Nick, being very particular, has actually measured it.
And then
from our
that's just
side.
on your side, isn't it? I think
Yeah.
that's
Oh,
the
it
issue.
hasn't actually measured.
Yeah, and you are 35.
Fine.
Yeah.
Don't remember which way around. Yes, I
No,
think.
I think it's worth just
Yeah, no, I agree.
highlighting that.
And I think also to add that and they will, because they have to, because that's what they do. But again, won't hurt to stress that new comments have been added by the neighbours that they need to take into consideration.
Can we also add that it is only 20 centimetres from the boundary of one of the houses?
Yeah, well, they will know that they should know that from the plans. So.
I know, but spelling it out's not a bad idea.
No, okay, but I mean, we could go on. We could go on forever, couldn't we?
It's possible also to mention the fence heights are still drawn meters.
Yeah, so where we've got the
That's-
inaccurate, misleading plans, and you've mentioned about the 45-degree and the fence height of, that's yours again,
it's
isn't
both
it?
sides, it's both
Oh,
sides.
the fence
Yeah.
height of both
Yeah,
of the neighbouring properties is inaccurate.
They're trying to conceal the fact that they're overlooking. you know,
Yeah.
So what did you measure it to? It's
Uh,
about a metre.
Well, the floor of the balcony is 60 centimetres from the top of the fence. So effectively that balcony has only got a 60 centimetre fence on our side.
And they put that I don't know what the
Oh yeah,
height.
they put it about a metre higher. They've drawn a completely fake fence.
It's just drawn a
It
random.
doesn't even look. It doesn't look like the
Yeah,
fence.
so I think we
It's
just have to
as
say
a-
it's completely
it's-
inaccurate, yeah.
It's about a metre higher than what it actually is.
Yeah, and we could add, I think, the number, sorry, so I will come to you,
That's all
don't,
right.
the, at the front of the property will only be 20 centimetres, was it, from the front of 31, is that right?
Where the garage is.
From-
yes,
yeah.
I'm not sure precisely.
Yeah,
Trust
Yeah,
me.
the front of the garage.
yeah.
The front of the
corner
garage is only 20 centimetres from the neighbouring property. All right, sorry, Sharon.
It will expand
20
out to maybe about.
centimetres from the neighbouring
How are they
boundary.
going to build it then if it's only 20 centimetres?
Well, that's one of the
Because-
issues, is that they won't get
because-
scaffolding. Sorry, Sue, did you have a question?
Yeah, no. It was just that I had made a note about 0.6 of a metre from the boundary, but
Oh.
That's on our
20.
side, yeah.
Yeah, in fact, it's even less on the
But
other
that's
side.
4 stories, trying to build 4 stories at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes,
With
Yeah.
that much space.
yes,
With,
yeah. So I mean, if that can be incorporated in some way.
So, yeah,
but
well, yeah,
that's-
if we say it's 0.2 on one side and 0.6 on the other, I think that's,
yeah.
sorry,
Yeah.
Sharon, can we go through what we've
So-
got.
No. You read your bit, and then I'll
Okay.
because I haven't done all your bit.
Okay, so I propose that we write to North Somerset Council, we write to the case officer, and we state that we are aware that there are now amended plans that have been submitted. However, our initial objections of, and I'll go through them all again, the proposals being overbearing, overlooking the immediate and surrounding neighbours, the mass and scope of development not in keeping with the street scene, the excavation that could impact on neighbouring properties, the loss of privacy, inaccurate and misleading plans giving the impression the building is smaller and less imposing than it is, size of the rear extension on the ground floor is out of keeping with neighbouring properties, the garage, we have said actually, the garage adjacent to the side wall to the cottage next door limits access for maintenance. This is a larger development than the plan that has been previously disallowed. And then there's the bits about wanting the local authority visit and the Ward Council to call in the application. Yeah,
You have said about disallowed. Was it actually turned down? Or,
well, that's what we all agreed last time.
I know.
One of them has been, hasn't it?
The four flats. was
Yeah,
refused,
yeah.
And then it was,
And then the other one was
appeal-
pulled, wasn't it?
right,
the appeal
okay,
was dismissed.
Yeah.
yeah, okay, that's fine.
And then we're going to add,
The bit about the green roof, proposed in the balcony is dangerous. The inaccurate plans does not comply with 45. In actual fact, it's 52 degrees, property 35.
Yeah.
New comments have been added to neighbouring properties that need to be taken into consideration. The fence site for both neighbouring properties is inaccurate. At the front of property 31 Beach Road, there's only 20 centimetres from the neighbouring property, and there's only 0.6 between 35 Beach Road.
Can I add something there? Can you say it's in breach of guidance of our neighbourhood plan?
No, it
but it
isn't,
isn't,
Janet.
so we can't,
Yeah, isn't it?
because we don't have
you would
anything.
have to be able to reference the policy, and I've just looked through again, and there isn't a relevant policy. It's not in a conservation area, and it's not a listed, an unlisted local heritage asset.
The houses either side of it unlisted, listed heritage assets, though, aren't they?
I don't know.
Yes, 31 and
We
33.
were asked if we wanted them. I know we were involved.
I looked them up, so.
Yeah, but that one I don't think is, and that's the part of the problem. So although it obviously does impact on that, it's not, there is nothing in our neighbourhood plan that can.
I think, Janet, they probably understand that we object.
Vehemently.
I mean, we haven't actually been
Very
asked.
strongly.
Got over banners or something.
So unless anybody has anything else they'd like to add or ask, I propose that we say all of that.
Yeah.
And that Sharon writes to North Somerset Council. Yeah, Roger?
Second.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I was looking at you then like, what?
Get in there.
Do not ask another question. Right, all those in favour? Lovely, thank you. Thank you, guys. You're more than welcome to stay, but if you want to leave, please feel
Okay,
free.
thank you very much.
Thank you very
Thank you
much.
personally.
Yeah, that's Martin Dowling. He doesn't want to speak, do you, Martin?
No.
He's just come along to.
No, one point I would like to make, knowing a little bit about planning and regulations, that
Yeah.
all properties, in my knowledge, should be a minimum of 800 mil from any boundary.
Yeah.
And I'm quite surprised to hear that they've allowed it so close.
Well, because the issue, like we said, is maintenance, isn't it, as much as anything else? I mean, it's the access to build. I mean, how on earth they think they're going to build a 4-storey building
You
with?
can build, apparently you can build hand over hand block work from the inside,
Reach over.
right? But how you put the roof on and how you render the outside
Without,
is,
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
They
you
haven't
know.
thought it through.
no. So yeah, that's
I
yeah.
think they're just assuming they can, or they're going to bully us.
And that, yeah. But like you said, the worry would be that they'd start building and then go, oh, actually, we can't even do this bit, and then what happens? So yeah.
Yeah, we're still, anyway.
Yeah.
So that's why we felt we ought to say something up front. 'cause
No,
we
yeah.
why that,
Yeah.
hang on, you know, you want to build it, get out of the way.
Yes.
It's quite large, and whatever they build
huge.
there, they could make it smaller and come in,
Yes.
and it didn't need,
And it wouldn't
doesn't
be so-
need to be as close as it
Yeah,
is.
It's 5,000 square feet, which is the square footage of our house and Jill and David's house put together.
Yeah, don't bang your head on the window.
Okay, thank you all. And just before I leave, I'd just like to say thank you all
Yeah.
to all of you. I know that tomorrow is another day, and so And there might be different, if this is ongoing, we might see different people in this room at another time when we come back
Certainly
again.
will.
Yes.
We will, because I know not all of you are standing. But, so anyway, we just wanted to say thank you ever so much for all your support
Thank
and
you.
hard work.
Thank you.
Thank you, that's much
very much.
appreciated. Thank you. Thanks.
That's Nick. Is that yours?
Oh, Martin Dowling. Right, thank you, everybody. Shall
Well, that
we
was refreshing.
Wasn't it?
move on? Oh, I've lost my spreadsheet. Oh, I literally have lost my spreadsheet. There it is. I've got it. Right, I've got it. So let's move on. So the next item on the agenda, hopefully things will move a little bit quicker, although we do have a couple of ones where we don't all agree. 3 Lilies Orchard. This one we all said, let me just make this smaller so I can read it. We have no objection and there are no online comments. So I propose, unless anyone's got any questions, we don't object to this one. Thank you, Sue. All those in favour? Thank you. Right, the next one is Harbour Road Trading Estate. And this one has already been approved, I believe, hasn't it? No, that one hasn't been approved. We had a time extension requested on that one. I assume it's been allowed, given. Again, no online comments. And we all said we had no objection, so I propose we have no objection to that one. Thank you, Bob B. All those in favour? Thank you. 33 Beechwood Road, that's the one where it's already gone through, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's already been approved by North Somerset, hasn't it, that one?
We've already asked to comment anyway.
Yeah. The next one is Units 3 and 4 Portishead Business Park. Again, no online comments. We all said we had no objection, so I propose no objection to that one. Thank you, Nicola. All those in favour?
I did have an objection from a resident saying we've got quite enough bathroom showrooms already.
Oh, really? What, online? Or did you heard that?
Personally.
Oh, I was going to say.
Because we have got 3, I think.
We have. It's funny, isn't it? It's like coffee shops and charity shops.
I think
So who
it's,
seconded that one, Tanya?
Nicola.
I think it's actually where, I don't know, a company could buy equipment or something. It isn't actually a showroom, I don't think.
It says showroom on the sign.
Oh, well, I thought it was more. Okay.
Sorry, do carry on.
Anyway, so the next one, this one is one where we're going to have a conversation. First floor, 56 High Street. This is one where they are proposing to go up into the upper office space to be converted into living accommodation. I initially didn't have any objection to this, particularly because there are parking spaces. However, as Paddy has pointed out, and as we've touched on very briefly, we actually in our neighbourhood plan have a policy PTC2, which encourages business use of upper floors in Portishead High Street. So even though it's not yet gone to referendum, we've been advised by North Somerset Council that the planning officers have to take notice now of our neighbourhood plan because it's gone through their kind of whatever the word is. I can't talk this evening. I'm so very sorry.
It's mainly because it's been passed by the examiner.
By the examiner. That's that's
and
the
it previously got approved by North Somerset.
So North Somerset, yes, North Somerset had already approved it. The examiners then came back with a couple of minor changes which have taken place. So I then changed my view to say that I objected because I feel that the whole point of us writing our neighbourhood plan was so that we can have a say in what happens. And as that is a policy in our neighbourhood plan, personally, I feel it would be, it would just be bonkers of us to then completely go against our own neighbourhood plan. I am happy to have that conversation. I mean, at the moment, there were only 3 of us that objected. Nicola.
In light of what you've just said, I would change my mind to object.
Okay.
Likewise, I mean, I know you were talking earlier, but it's an interesting point. Who's going to have all that knowledge?
Well, yeah,
planning meeting.
Yes.
We've had a brief conversation, as you know. So that's something we need to make sure that people are, the new planning committee, whoever they are aware of, and Sharon Hobbs.
And the planning officers as well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
It is an interesting one because I don't know if you noticed, but they put in a quite a well-written document about why they were unable to find replacement tenants.
Right.
And I've got a feeling that's because they know about this.
Yeah, well, yeah, because in theory they should, shouldn't they? I mean, like I said, I initially looked at it and thought, actually, do you know what? It's got parking, which is something that never happens, particularly on the high street. But yeah, now that we have written our neighbourhood plan, like I said, I think it'd be bonkers if we then go, that's
Agreed.
right. It will be interesting to see what North Somerset do.
Indeed, yes.
So I think we will have, if we include, we will have to include the policy in our objection, I think.
Yeah.
So first of all then, so that, Nicola, with a few of you saying you now change your view,
Can you remind me, what did I said object, didn't I?
What letter are you?
Yes, you did, Janet, but you didn't say why, yeah.
Well, there's not much point in me saying why, because I wipe everybody else's stuff off, however hard I try. I retain my words for now.
Okay. So I propose that we object to this proposal, and if everyone's in agreement with that, then we can discuss what our objection will say. Do we need to vote for the objection and then,
Yeah.
or can we
And
just
then-
yeah.
Yeah, add the.
I like it all done at the same
Yeah.
time.
So, has anyone got anything they'd like to ask or add to that before we go on, Roger? Hello, Bob, Roger?
Yeah, I think a lot of us are actually worried about the future of the high street. And in light of this, it's probably a better idea for us to dissuade as much as putting flats above shops as much as possible. Because to me, it works both ways. I think if we have empty shops, that pushes hopefully the owner's rents down, which might bring in new ideas to the town, but it also could work vice versa. But securing the shops, I think, for the high street is one of the most important things we need to keep an eye on.
And I think it's interesting, isn't it? Because there are actually, if it were the other way around, if it were the bottom floor and they wanted to convert, they actually can do that now, can't they, without having to request permission. So go on. Sorry, Roger, sorry, Roger, I will come to you.
Well, I was going to say.
Go on, you go first.
Okay, as a tenant of a commercial property in the high street, I do have a certain amount of experience with renting properties and the upper floor usages. I know that it's extremely difficult to find anybody who wants an upper floor office off the high street, and being unable to let it out as an upper floor office doesn't garner you any reduction in your rent for the entire property at all. In fact, the landlords in the high street have a full policy of never reducing the rent on any property regardless. They will give a rent-free period. They will not reduce it because they know that it will put a downward pressure on other properties. So they would rather leave them empty than do that. We could be saddling somebody with a property for which they then can't use the upper floor at all if they can't find a tenant for it. And a number of properties have changed in the high street because they couldn't find tenants for the upper floors. And I think we'll get more of this because of that.
So I know you wanted to speak, Paddy. I feel like you want to respond to that though.
Yes, I mean, our job is not to feel sympathy for people because they can't, maximise their income from their property. But our job is to implement our neighbourhood plan. That's why we wrote it.
I take that fully on board, but it's also not our job to ensure that that properties are disused along the high street when there are people crying out for places to live.
I'm quite sure if they convince the planning officers that they are unable to rent it out as office space, that will override our neighbourhood plan.
Is that not already in their report? That they couldn't let it out as office space?
Yeah, but that wasn't written by the planning officers. That's written by the applicant.
Yes, no. So the applicant's already saying that they can't let it out as office space.
So the planning officer will make a decision based on all of the information they have, including that.
Yes, but I still think that we are obliged to try and get our neighbourhood plan implemented.
Sue, sorry. Thank you, Paddy.
Yes, I notice at the back there are 3 parking spaces. The 2 for the flat are actually one behind the other, which if there was nothing beside, you might be able to get the one at the back out and then round the first one. But in the middle of the next door, roughly in the middle of where these 2 tandem spaces are, is a parking space for Costa. And I'm thinking, how can somebody sort of maneuver around without sort of, get out from that behind space without all the shuffling around? All right, I mean, we all do it on one thing or another, but I'm just thinking that it's perhaps not ideal. But the other reason I've obviously put in there about a changing to residential is that there is that metal staircase which anybody with any mobility issues or disability in any form would have great difficulty getting up and down, and I think that actually is a good reason for not actually, or another good reason why not to convert it to housing.
So if I propose then that we object to this application, and our reasons are that it is not in compliance with policy PTC2 of the Portishead Neighbourhood Plan. I'm trusting, Paddy, that you.
Yeah, I've got it in front of me.
That's fabulous because I haven't. So it's not. What did we say? It's not in. Yes, which encourages business use of upper floors in Portishead High Street. And then, in addition, the current access to the property is not DDA compliant. And we can add, as we're objecting anyway, we can add that we have concerns that the parking isn't adequate. I think we just put it as simply as that. I'm happy to propose that. Is anyone happy to second that? Thank you, Janet. All those in favour? Hang on. All except Roger. All right. Thank you.
Maintain my principles.
No, that's absolutely Roger.
Right.
Are you
And it is an
against,
argument.
against or not
Yeah,
voting?
put me down
Yeah,
against.
but yeah. Sorry, I should have. Yeah.
That's all right, yeah.
That's the whole principle of this. Right, so we move. Thank you, Sharon. Moving on to 137 Nor Road. The only comment online is from the immediate neighbour fully in support of this one. And we all said we had no objection. So I propose we say we have no objection to that one. So all those in favour? Sorry, I need a seconder first. Thank you, Bobby. All those in favour? Yeah. Sorry, my peripheral vision's not working as it normally does today.
Can't see within the back of your head with the kids today.
Yeah. Right, 22 Wren Gardens. Again, no online comments. We all said we had no objection, although there were a few comments. So I propose we have no objection to this one. Can I have a second? So thank you, Bob C. All those in favour? The next one, so we had Mendip Road, but actually there looks like that was just one that unless neighbours complain and we weren't. The next one is 36 Coombe Avenue. So this is another one where we're potentially going to have a long conversation. Oh, actually, we might not now. Oh, yes, we will. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so this is one where actually 5 of us have objected to this one. So I am going to propose, unless anybody who's objected changes their mind, that we object. Although I don't agree. This is the one where there's basically building a new house, a 2-bedroom house. they are creating more parking, and whilst I understand that they're taking parking off the road, I actually don't have a problem with that. There are concerns from some people about overdevelopment of the corner space. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if those, I personally have no objection to this, so I don't know if anybody wants to say anything or whether, Janet.
I've thought about this, although I changed my mind earlier today to objection, I've changed my mind back for a very good reason, because I googled it. I looked at there's quite enough space for another house there, actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's my comment was I don't think it's any bigger than a lot of two-story extensions that we don't tend to have an issue with. That doesn't necessarily help us, Janet, because now there's 4 that object and 4 that don't.
I think the chair has the casting.
The chair does have the casting vote, yes. Go on, Sue.
Yes, I looked at this one and also looked at Google Maps as well, and sort of really had a good look at this. The existing property of number 36 will now have, or it is proposed that they would have 2 parking spaces. But on the new property, it just has drive, which looks as though it's barely enough for 1 car. Now, as it's a 2-bedroomed house, it would need 2 spaces, because that is the minimum, really, sort of 3 and under, it's got to have 2 spaces. So I'm not quite sure where they'd put that, because you can't extend what they've labelled as drive any further back, because it would go into the house.
Yes, okay.
But that is not enough.
No, that's
That is.
But that's why you objected, is it? Okay. Does anybody else who objected have anything they want to add to try and persuade us, or shall I just move to vote on the basis that for the first time ever in this very last meeting, I can exert my power and my authority and propose that we have no objection to this planning application? Would anybody like to second that? Thank you, Paddy. All those in favour?
Of no objection.
Yes.
Of no objection.
Yes.
2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Yeah, okay. You have the casting vote, Chairman.
So, yeah.
Are you going to call those against?
I'm just about to, yes. So, all those against having no objection. So there's 4. 1, 2, Nicola.
No.
2. That was it, I think.
And Bob.
No. Bobby.
Oh, yeah, Sue's one
Yeah.
more. Oh, Bob, C. Did you lose one?
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
Trying to lose a bot before you, aren't you?
Trying to lose both of them. Right, thank you, everyone. I know that was, yeah.
Did you enjoy it?
Right, next one, moving on. I did. It's 56 High Street. Again, I think there was just one person, I think, that objected to this one, but I think, Paddy, that's you because of the issue about the other one, whether or not
Yes,
it's approved. Yeah,
won't.
no, and I agree, but I think as a standalone, I think I didn't have any objection to this one. There are no online comments, so I propose we say we have no objection to this one. So can I have a seconder, please? Thank you, Bob C. All those in favour? Thank you. The next one was 2 Rodmore Road. There are no online comments. Oh, so you said you couldn't see the changes on the new plans?
Yeah, it was sort of difficult really to see.
I think there weren't many.
and I
It's a garage
expanded
roof,
it
wasn't it? And
and-
yeah, I did actually. This
And
one,
the extra window.
Mm.
I couldn't.
I did go and have a look at this one because I looked at it for the first application. So I did go and have a look at this one, and I think it's absolutely
good.
fine. So like I said, there's no online comments, and we all said we had no objection. So I propose we have no objection to that one. Thank you, Nicola. All those in favour? Thank you. Whoops. So now I think we come to another one. No, first of all, Drake's Way. The only comment I had on this one is that in the plans, they drew what they called a possible privacy screen, which I thought was interesting. So I think, Roger, as you said, I think it'd be up to the neighbours who are overlooked to determine whether they want to object. There were no online comments so far, and we all said we had no objection, so I propose no objection for this one. Thank you, Sue. All those in favour? Thank you. Right, now we come to another one, although I think it's going to be split decision again. So this is another one where we are looking at the neighbourhood plan. So this is a conversion of a 2-bed bungalow to a 4-bed house. This time, our neighbourhood plan policy PWH2 promotes the retention of existing smaller housing stock and states very specifically that proposals to enlarge 2- and 3-bedroom properties and bungalows will only be supported if they conserve the distinctive residential character and appearance of the host neighbourhood. So again, personally, I feel we have no alternative but to object to this, because whilst I agree with the comments that actually it's not unusual, it's quite a normal thing to happen, bearing in mind our neighbourhood plan, I think we probably can't say that we have no problem with this one. Currently, 4 of us objected on that basis, and 4 said they had no objection. Roger, I think your hand did go up slightly before Janet's, did it?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I did put in the comments that I could be persuaded.
Yeah.
I thought we couldn't rely upon our plan, as it hadn't been through a referendum yet, but I believe from this meeting we've been told that we can rely upon it, and that North Somerset will look at taking it into account.
They should. They should.
I did send Tanya the email which confirms that from the North Somerset neighbourhood plan.
In which case I'd be happy then to go with the plan and change my no objection to objection.
Based on our neighbourhood plan policy, yeah.
I do understand your problem, because I did ask the question, what happens if it doesn't go to referendum? Do they have to go back and it doesn't pass referendum? Do they have to go back and revisit
all
everything?
the plans that they've approved?
I don't know. But I understand that no neighbourhood plan has yet failed to get through its referendum. It does seem a bit odd.
Yeah, I think it's because, as Paddy said earlier, sorry Janet, we'll come to you, because North Somerset they've done their bit and agreed their bit, so that's why I presume they assume, they feel that it's perfectly okay. Yes, Janet.
And obviously the reasons for the neighbourhood plan are that there is a shortage of small homes,
Exactly.
and and homes for older people.
Yeah.
And I think continually talking, God, I can't speak either. Changing 2-bedroom bungalows to 4-bedroom houses really destroys the chance of older people and newcomers to the market to actually get on the housing ladder at all.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a pity we didn't have it a lot earlier.
Yeah.
We've had so many that have been there.
Yeah. So what I propose is that we object to this application on the basis of our neighbourhood plan policy PWH2 promotes the retention of existing smaller housing stock and states that proposals to enlarge 2- and 3-bedroom properties and bungalows will only be supported if they conserve the distinctive residential character and appearance of the host neighbourhood. And I'd also like to add, if approved, it would be, and I think this was your comment, Sue, wasn't it? It'd be another 2-bedroom bungalow lost.
Yeah.
For first-time buyers, people who are downsizing, or people with mobility issues who don't want a flat. And it's also out of keeping with the surrounding single-storey properties.
Yeah.
The reality is it's a money-driven thing rather than a social-driven thing.
Absolutely.
And I blame people for it.
Yeah, no, you can't blame people for it, but unfortunately, because, you know.
It's in the plan, it's in the plan.
Yeah, exactly. So that's my proposal. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Bob. B?
Bob, B.
All those in favour?
Very quick, Bob.
Yes. Thank you. Thank
Well,
you, everyone.
I do feel quite strongly about the plan. Why did we do it if we're going to keep to it?
Well, exactly, and that's, but it's interesting actually now putting it into practice, isn't it? Because some of these we've looked at and gone, I
Yeah.
think that looks all right.
Yeah, oh
But-
yeah, that's right. Now you suddenly realise what you said.
Yeah. So we have got some late ones, but we'll come to those in a minute. There is a motion from, the next item on the agenda was this motion from Bob Bees and seconded by Janet. And the recommendation was to support the motion about the writing to North Somerset Council Highways Department asking for double yellow lines to be reinstated on the corner of Down Road, and either removes the time limit or increases the limit to 4 hours from the parking bays by Brunel Court. What I would like to do is make a proposal to amend the motion and split it in two, because I think they're two very different areas and two very different items. So,
I'm happy to second that.
okay, Janet, sorry, were you going to say something?
Can I say something about the second motion?
Can I tell you what they are before you say something about them?
Yes.
So I propose, and Sue has already seconded it, that we amend the motion. So the amendment will be that the part one will be Portishead Town Council's Planning Advisory Group resolves to write to North Somerset Council's Highways Department asking for double yellow lines to be reinstated on the corner of West Hill, outside 78 West Hill, opposite 2 Lower Down Road. Have we got those addresses right now?
That's good.
And the second part of the proposal, the second proposal will be that Portishead's Town Council's Planning Advisory Group resolves to write to North Somerset Council's Highways Department asking for the removal of the time limit placed or increasing the parking limit to 4 hours on the parking bays by Brunel Court, Portishead. So first of all, can we vote on whether we're happy with that amended motion, which I'm proposing? Thank you, Sue.
So who was,
The reason I'm not
I'm
happy
opposing.
with that amended motion is because I want to take something out of the second motion. So I'm not happy about accepting the two motions as they are,
Right. Go on.
because of the reasons. I didn't realise you were going to put 4 hours in.
4 hours, well,
I don't think that we should have any there. And I'll tell you why. It's because most of those parking spaces are used for people in the old people's home.
Yeah.
And I
They
talked to
all
the
should be.
yeah, I talked to the woman who is the manager, and she says the trouble is that if you've got somebody putting in a bathroom, they can't then after 4 hours or after 2 hours drive off and then carry their stuff from another car park to finish the job. And the other thing is, if a community nurse is there and she's sitting with a dying patient and she's there for more than 4 hours, she could get a ticket. So I don't think there should be any time limit on there whatsoever, because you cannot expect community nurses to leave a patient under those circumstances, or if somebody's having a bathroom being put in, you cannot expect them to move their car.
Can I just point out you did second this original proposal?
Yes, but I
Janet?
didn't know Bob was going to put 4 hours in. I'm sorry.
Sue, go on.
if I can give a bit of background to it. Prior to the traffic changes that we waited 4 years for, the people in that house, 3 ladies and the manager, asked for this change. They also said that they would be happy at that time with an extended parking facility. There is opposite, I think you all know it, but those parking bays are that way, and opposite there is 4 or 5 that already have the limit on it that they've now imposed on here. The most frustrating thing was that when they agreed to do it at North Somerset, they made no mention of putting any limit on that change of parking. They put the police one on the end. They then said, and we all know who it is, they then said that it was the police who'd asked for them to be changed, which was absolute bloody nonsense because it was us. And I went back to him and basically said, you know, you've never discussed any limitation on the hours. And certainly, I think is it 1 or 2 hours it currently is, can't remember what it is, but it's really ridiculous,
It's 1
whatever it is.
hour.
I think it's 1 hour. It was mainly for visitors for the home, and people were saying that, you know, a visit is always over an hour. Nobody came up with the technical one of, not disputing that they've said to you what they've said, but they didn't come up with the technical one of people working there or whatever. but it was for visitors and they felt an hour was too short.
I-
So that was the history to the proposal.
And I do feel because of the very limited number of parking spaces, I think if you make it unlimited and there is the potential for somebody to park there all day,
Yeah,
Which
you're
is
then,
what I was about
you're
to
not
say.
then
you're
allowing
not doing what it's set to
somebody
do.
else
That's right.
to
But 1 hour
use
is too
it.
short.
Go on, Roger.
So I, I want to talk to the time limit on that one, but would we not be better in
Yes.
splitting the two
Yes.
first?
Yes.
And then talking about the intricacies of each one later on? That would be my preferred way rather than
I
doing
thought
it
that's
now.
what we were
We
doing.
were trying to do that, I think.
Yeah.
That
It's
was
my
it.
fault,
So we
sorry.
did the second one first.
So did you have anything you wanted to say, or were you going to say the same, yeah, as I did?
Yes.
If you have somebody there that's parking all day, then
Yes.
somebody else might not be able to have a visitor or whatever. Okay, so first of all, the proposal
Because
is,
we haven't got enough
yeah,
long stay parking.
yeah. So the proposal is that we amend the motion and split it into two.
Right.
So can I have a seconder for that? Thank you, Sue, and all those in favour. Right. So now, Paddy, did you have something to add?
Now we've split it into two.
Right, now we've split it into two. Can we talk about the first one, please? And vote on the first one?
You're doing them the other way round, aren't you?
That bit.
I am
We're doing the
going,
West Hill bit
I'm
first.
going for the double yellow lines on the corner of West Hill first.
Yes,
Is that all right?
Yes.
yes.
So the proposal is that Portishead Town Council's Planning Advisory Group resolves to write to North Somerset Council's Highways Department asking for double yellow lines to be reinstated on the corner of West Hill, outside 78 West Hill, opposite to Lower Down Road. If everybody is in agreement with that, nobody has a problem, I'd like somebody else to propose that one, please.
Right, so, okay, so Bob's proposing that, is it?
Hang on, Sue's
Yeah.
got a question.
Yes. You're saying it's opposite to Lower Down Road?
Yeah.
Yes, so you're actually talking where it's turning into
Right on,
down,
it's basically
down, yeah, yes,
the
I
whole
know,
boundary between
yeah, I
the
know
two
where it
drives
is,
at
yeah.
78.
Yeah.
I obviously confused everybody by just mentioning what it was opposite to. It's
Yeah,
actually on the, between the
Yeah, I
two
know,
driveways
yeah, yeah.
of 78,
Yeah.
right around the corner,
yeah.
which were there before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Fine.
So
Okay.
it's outside 78.
It is outside 78, yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
no
78 is
question
on the
about
corner, and like
And
Bob
I'll
says, it
take
has
take
to
the
be
opposite
opposite.
Lower Down Road bit out.
I would.
Yeah, you could do,
Yeah.
To avoid confusion. So Bob is proposing that. Does somebody want to second that? Janet, Janet got there first.
She didn't she?
All those in favour? And I'm not in favour of that one.
Are you,
You're not in
are
favour?
you against?
Yeah,
Okay.
Why?
because I don't feel it's necessary. But I know that everybody else would vote in favour, so there's no point prolonging the meeting, yes. I drive around that corner at least twice a day, every single day of the week.
There's no one parked there.
And it's never an issue, because, yes, so that's why I'm voting against it. Right, so the second proposal. Sorry, Martin, I promised you it wouldn't be a long one, didn't I? Is that Portishead's Town Council's Planning Advisory Group, resolves to write to North Somerset Council's Highways Department asking for the removal of the time limit placed or increasing the parking limit to 4 hours on the parking bays by Brunel Court, Portishead. So we've just had a sort of conversation about whether we remove it completely or increase the limit to 4 hours. So that both are in the proposal. So we just need to decide which we want to do. Personally, I'm happy with the 4 hour limit. I propose the easiest way to go around this, and I will come to you, Janet, in a minute, to maybe just go around the table and see whether anyone has a preference. Janet.
Can I just add first that I understand about the fact that there wouldn't be any parking spaces, but I park there frequently because there's a disabled space there, and it makes sense for me to be able to park there for as long as I like, rather than park in Waitrose car park where I can only park for 2 hours. I park there frequently, and there are very few times when those parking spaces are full.
Do you park there to visit the people who live in Brunel Court? Because
No.
isn't that what those parking spaces
No,
are
they're
for?
not. They're
They're
just open ones.
Oh, okay, I thought they were designed for.
I deliberately go there if they are used by everybody else, but they're never completely full. So there would be spaces for people to visit there, but as you say, it's usually long-term stuff. And when I spoke to the manager of the home, she said that they often have people, tradesmen there, and also nurses there for long periods of time. They have the driveway and come back. and it's not easy. Anyway, so yes, I want unlimited parking there.
Right, so you've answered. Bob, I was going to go around the table, but Janet's.
4.
Yeah, 4 hours is, I think.
Okay, so, sorry, originally, they were unlimited.
Yeah.
Yep. When they were unlimited, it was great for me because that means I could park my car there all day long and it was easy to walk to and from my shop, much more difficult there. Yep. Now, I'm not saying that we should make them unlimited to make my life easier, certainly not. But what they were all full of was shopkeepers and shop staff cars all day long. Carpet vans from the carpet shop, they used to spend hours on end in there when they had no work to do. Just pop them in there because it was unrestricted over there and it was as close as possible. Just round the corner, there's offices with no parking spaces. There's shops with no parking spaces. There's Waitrose, which gives you 2 hours. Yeah. There's the unrestricted parking further up by Lidl, so there are parking spaces around there. But if the intention is to leave the spaces there for people solely visiting the residents, then this will not achieve it. What will happen is they will be full of people like me, maybe not me, but people like me, shopkeepers and other people working in the area, and they will park there first thing in the morning and they will leave there last thing at night. And that's why I'm worried about going beyond the 2-hour restriction, which most of the others have. Most of the other car parking spaces around there have.
So based on the proposal we've got, would you vote for the 4 hours, or are you saying that you don't want to vote on this at all because you don't agree with either of them?
I think 2 hours. I would say if we could amend it to 2 hours, I would go for that. But for 4 hours, that's one part-time member of staff shift.
I don't think we can change the 4 hours now to a 2, can we? Because we've already.
You can make an amendment. You've got to vote. We've got to vote on each amendment now.
I don't propose an amendment.
Get
Somebody
it
would have to
sorted.
second the amendment.
Yeah.
It's whether or not there's any support for that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
Failing that, I can just vote against it. That's not
fine.
a problem.
Okay.
But we have got an amendment from, I think, Janet to get rid of the limit on the parking, haven't you?
Well, we've
Well,
got the
that's the
option, which is
options.
why I'm going around the table. We've got 2 options in that one proposal, so we need to decide which one we're going to propose. Paddy?
Well, 10 minutes ago, you said we were just going to go round the table so you could get a feel for.
I know what I did. Well, that's where I got to Roger, and he
I
then
know.
gave his opinion.
I
So
know,
now
but
it's
if-
Nicola's turn.
But if we find that there is a majority in favour of one or the other,
Which we haven't asked enough people that yet.
No.
Nicola?
Parking around that end sounds awful. Yeah, if it's all day, people will take advantage.
Are you saying 4 hours?
Yeah, so it would either be 2 or 4. Yeah.
Janet, I know you want all day, unlimited.
4 hours.
4, right. The majority seem to go for 4. So the proposal is that we write to North Somerset Council asking for the parking limit to be increased to 4 hours on the parking bays by Brunel Court. That is my proposal. Can I have a seconder, please? Bob Ball. All those in favour?
Right, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
6, wasn't it? 1, 2, 3.
I
Did
don't
you
think Roger
propose?
did.
Yeah, 3. Yeah, it was 6.
Okay.
Me, 2 Bobs, Nicola, Sue and Paddy. All those against?
Okay.
Janet and Roger. Thank you. Goodness me, how has this meeting been like the most dramatic meeting ever?
Dramatic, gosh.
Thank you. Well, not dramatic, but thank you, everyone. Right, we do have a couple of late applications, which I'm thrilled to see people have commented on. So the first one is 59 Nor Road. Don't worry, Sue. Other people have. There's enough of us that have looked at them. They only went on yesterday.
I don't know.
59 Nor Road, we currently have 7 of us who have said we have no objection, so I propose that we have no objection to that application. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Roger. All those in favour? Thank you. 26 Quantock Road, this is an interesting one. It's another neighbourhood plan one, and all of us that have looked at it have all said we object. And this is another one where they're going from a 2-bedroom to a 4-bedroom. So I propose, unless anyone's got anything they want to say, that we object to this proposal on the basis that it doesn't comply with policy PWH2, which promotes the retention of the existing smaller housing stock, and states that proposals to enlarge 2 and 3 bedroom properties and bungalows will only be supported if they conserve the distinctive residential character and appearance of the host neighbourhood.
It's probably worth interest in the future to see whether they treat all 3 the same.
Yeah, well, I'll keep
Because if they
an eye on
don't,
them.
if they break any of those, we're in trouble. Well, someone's in trouble.
No, it depends what you mean by in trouble. I mean, what's in our neighbourhood plan are guidelines, the same as all the other guidance, and they don't always come out with
No,
the
I
same
suppose
answer.
so. It's just that it's almost going to be like a trial situation.
certainly.
Absolutely,
Quite
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, and we've
Very
said that,
interesting to
yeah,
see what they do.
yeah. So I've made that proposal, I think. Can I have a seconder? Thank you, Bob B. All those in favour?
There's another one, isn't there?
Thank you. No,
Was that Cadbury?
that's, no, we've got no comment, we
Yeah,
can send
not
comments,
such-
but none of us that have looked at it had any objections, so.
Okay.
Right, there's a late consultation that's come in. I don't think we need to do anything with it, so it's just notice of a temporary road closure. Notice has been received from North Somerset Council to temporarily close West Hill.
Why?
Outside number 30, for work to be undertaken by Bristol Water
Oh, really?
to replace the sluice frame and cover. The works are expected to take 2 days and commence on the 21st of June 2023. We've got until the 11th of May to make any comment regarding the closure. The type of response we've normally made in road closures, so I propose we do the same, is that we don't have any objection to this. It's hilarious. Subject to 24-hour access being maintained for residents and deliveries to properties, no disruption to the services and utilities for residents, and an appropriate traffic management system being put into operation, advance notice letters being delivered to residents at least 10 days before work commences, and following completion, the North Somerset Council's Highways Department attend the site to ensure that all surfaces worked upon are in satisfactory repair. So, Sue.
I assume they will also tell the bus company that,
Yes, can
because
we-
of course that is a bus route.
Yes, can we add actually that to the proposal that first bus are advised, again with at least 10 days advance notice? Yes,
Why
good
are
point,
we
Sue.
having to remind them?
Well, we shouldn't, we shouldn't do, but it makes,
it's just,
it covers ourselves if we do. So I propose that that's what we do, is we go back and say that's North Somerset. Can I have a seconder, Roger? All those in favour? Thank you very much. Right, then we had some planning applications not requiring consultation, which are all on your agenda, and some council decisions for information only.
Can I ask you, which is the Woodlands one? What was that, the one we have voted against?
You have to look it up. Jan.
Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't remember,
Right,
Janet,
okay.
sorry. Then there's another, just a couple of miscellaneous items. Minutes from the Parish Council's Airport Association meeting on the 30th of March have been received. I think that's the one that we were given an update on, weren't we, from Paul Churchill at one of the
Yeah.
meetings?
Yeah.
Yeah. And notification has been received from North Somerset Council as part of its bus improvement plan. New bus stop road markers will be installed at 2 sites by Portishead Cemetery, Hollis Avenue, Rock Villas, Harbour Road, and one by Serbert Way. Works are expected to start in May.
that sounds more than 2
It does,
sites.
doesn't it?
Doesn't it?
But Portishead Cemetery, Hollis Avenue, I think is the same.
Yeah, 2
Yeah,
areas.
yeah.
Can I just ask, just
Yeah.
as a point of reference for me? It says bus cages. Is that the dashed line
Yes, it's
around
the
yellow
where
line
the bus
on the
will
road.
stop?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Not an actual paint.
No.
We might
No, I
not
thought
put
that would
buses
be-
in
that would be
cages, but that
different,
isn't
yeah.
how we do it.
Right, if anyone's got anything to add to the next meeting, speak now or forever hold your peace.
Well, I'd like to propose that we thank Tanya, and we also thank Sue, because we've had amazing planning advisory group meetings over the last 4 years, and I think that we've all learnt a lot, and we all feel, and I think they, for the most part, they've been extremely democratically run and very interesting indeed. So
Thank you,
very
Sharon.
much.
You've
indeed.
kind of just,
Thank you.
just completely,
Sorry, Thunder.
that's the word I was going to use. I was going to swear, but. So I wanted, before we close the meeting, I even wrote quick notes and everything.
I apologise.
Just to give a huge thanks to all of you, so to all the members of the group, past and present, and all the other councillors, because obviously I'm going to get emotional now. This is the last, as I said at the beginning, the last ever meeting of any kind for this current council. So it's been amazing working with you all. It's a really good team of people to work with. I also want to say thank you to all of the councillors for giving me the chance to chair this group, which, despite some people's suggestions otherwise, was never a political decision. I hope I haven't done too badly a job
I think you've done a cracking
for
job.
someone with apparently no knowledge or experience. And how do you get experience if you don't try things? It's kind of how it works. I know I've been a bit of a nagging old bag at times.
Oh, yeah.
But that's mainly because I can't be doing with long meetings unless they're absolutely necessary. And lastly, I want to thank Sharon, who always works exceptionally hard behind the scenes to make sure these meetings run smoothly. I wouldn't be able to do it without her. Sorry, Bob, I just need to squeeze past you. So this is completely inappropriate. We haven't closed the meeting yet. But I'm going to do it anyway because I'm not a councillor after tomorrow, so who cares? So Sharon, thank you.
Oh, thank you very
You absolutely deserve it, Sharon.
You do. And now I'm going to close the meeting at 8:41.
If I can just
Go on, Sue, before I
add
close the
something.
meeting.
All right, very, very briefly. I would just like to say thank you very much, Tanya, for chairing the meeting for the past year. I think you've done a cracking job.
Thank you.
And thank you very much for everything that you have also brought to
thank you,
this
Sue.
meeting. So thank you very much.
Thank you for your support throughout as well. Right, before I close the meeting, actually, the next date of the next meeting, currently as it stands, is Wednesday the 7th of June, but obviously that will be confirmed at the annual town council meeting on the 11th of May, next Wednesday, with the new council. Thursday, is it?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
It's the bank holiday.
Yes, bank holidays, don't you just love them? Yes, I do. So now I'm going to close the meeting at 8:42. Done. Thank you, everybody.